So from what I understand, you went to see the male Sailor Scout, right? Bruno Mars?
Oh, yes.
I figured you'd go see Bruno Moon or Bruno Mercury, but you went for Bruno Mars.
Yeah, totally for Bruno Mars. He's my favorite. No. So, yeah, he went and saw Bruno Mars with my cousin, her friend, and my uncle, and oh my God, that was an amazing concert. Dude, he puts on such a good show.
Well, that's good. I don't like a lot of his early music. I don't even know why. Like Grenades, I guess I could just never get into it. I don't know. Anything around that era, but I mean his newer stuff I like a lot.
Right, yeah. Well, some people have bad taste, but it's okay.
Yeah, it's hey, wait a minute.
No, so yeah, that was really good. And then on Saturday I went to a friend's wedding, and that was a lot of fun. It was a really cute, simple wedding, so I liked it.
Nice. Small and I don't know the word I'm looking for. Intimate. That's exactly the word I was looking for, actually.
Yeah, no, it was really good. They were very laid back about it. Like, Katie didn't even wear like an actual dress. Or a wedding dress. She just wore like a nice dress. And then Chris just wore like standard slacks, like and a regular ass button up with a little vest. And that was it.
Very nice.
Yeah, it was a really nice wedding. That's probably something that I would want to do because I'm just like weddings, whatever.
They expensive.
Yeah, for sure. But anyway, so I guess we should get into the topic.
Probably.
For this week. So in case people don't know, there has been some shit going on with NeoGAF. And for those who don't know what NeoGAF is a like a forum, a board, website where people just go and talk and everything, and it has been a central hub for a long time for like the video game entertainment industry, where like, a lot of professionals go there to kind of like talk about like ideas and concepts and get feedback on stuff, but also it's where people go to express their opinions on the current state of gaming or gaming news that happens and those sorts of things.
I had no idea NeoGAF even existed. I didn't know what it was until you brought it up this morning. You're like, we should do an episode on NeoGAF. I'm like, what's that?
Yeah, so anytime there's been like some major leaks about concepts for new games or certain mechanics or art assets or little small things like that, or like, oh look, they registered this like copyright, that there must be a hint for something they're working on. That kind of stuff usually comes through on NeoGAF first, and that's where they always like people will find like the technical side of the industry really comes through on there, and that's where a lot of like first breaks will happen.
Well, I kind of feel like I missed out on something then, but I was reading, and I also realized that you have to have like a professional email to even get on the forums, like to be like considered to be on there. So I wouldn't have been able to get on anyway, because just me and my Gmail over here.
Oh yeah. I mean, that's kind of the whole deal. Is that it's supposed to be a place for professionals, and so people would go there all the time to look for news and whatnot. It's the news. It basically is that NeoGAF went down for the weekend, and I think it might still be down.
It is. I'm looking at it right now. It says NeoGAF will be back online shortly.
Yeah, so if you're wondering why NeoGAF went down, it has to do with accusations of the owner of the website, and it's kind of relevant to some shit that's been going on in the Hollywood entertainment industry as well. So it kind of all pertains.
Oh yeah, it's been exploding all over the place,
for sure.
Left and right.
So. Long story short, and maybe short story long. I don't know how this is gonna go. We haven't scripted it out. You'll find out.
Right. With you, it could be a long episode.
2 hours later. And so he was born in 1937. And
shit.
How did we get all the way to the? Yeah. So the NeoGAF is owned by a guy named Tyler Evilore Malka. Evilore is his handle for the website.
Is it Evilore or Evilore?
I don't know. It's probably Evilore or Evilore.
I feel like it's like the word evil and lore like squished, like it shares the L. So I think it's Evilore.
Yeah, let's go with that, Evilore. That'll sound better.
I mean, with these allegations, I think it's more fitting to be Evilore anyway.
Oh yeah, for sure. So yeah, he owns the website, and the good thing about NeoGAF, a good thing out of it is that it's a great networking place for up and comers as well. I've heard a bunch of YouTubers and people who start like movie studios and little production studios and stuff that they kind of have networked through NeoGAF and have ended up kind of getting their starts from there and whatnot. And Tyler Malka has a lot of influence in that realm.
Oh yeah.
So he was accused by what is her name? Like Ima Leupp, I believe.
Her name, yep. Leupp, yeah. What's her first name?
Ima.
It's right here. Ima?
Yeah, I want to say it's Ima.
I'll find it. Keep talking. I'll find it.
So Ima Leupp, over the weekend, or maybe it was on Friday, she made a post on, I believe her Facebook. Could be in somewhere else, but anyway, so she made a post, and it had to do.
Yep, it's Ima.
It is Ima. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
She made a post having to do with the whole hashtag Me Too, which is that movement that's going on right now to let women basically give their stories of sexual harassment or abuse,
right.
Which all
when they're
stems...
been too afraid to say anything, they have support now to be able to come out and say, you know, that they've been affected by this and aren't going to be quiet anymore, which is great.
Yeah, that's a very good thing. But it all stems from the whole Harvey Weinstein incident, which, if you haven't heard of that, that's basically Harvey Weinstein was outed by a few women as being very sexually inappropriate and making passes at people and doing very inappropriate things, and he's apparently been doing this for years, and has done it to almost every actress that has come across his company, and so
I don't know that I was very confused about how I felt about that when I heard of it, because I mean it's I mean, it was very very inappropriate of him to do something like that. So I mean, as someone just knowing his influence and him using that to take advantage of women, it kind of struck me as, you know, I felt like good that he got caught, you know.
Oh yeah.
But also, I mean, I was like shocked because like I'm a big fan of Kevin Smith, and for those who don't know, Kevin Smith got his start through the Weinstein brothers because they bought Clerks at was it Sundance. So like I listen to a lot of Kevin Smith stuff, and he mentions him all the time. I want to say at some point he had a falling out with him.
Yeah, so they had a little bit of a tiff, and he released a couple of movies without the Weinstein Company.
Right. So I mean, thinking about that, I was like, yeah, he got caught, good. So, you know, all this kind of stuff, because I was kind of had some resentment from hearing all Kevin Smith stories about him and how he wasn't, you know, a good person in that sense. So it was like, I think I was shocked that someone like him would have done something like that. But then again, I mean, I guess it makes sense that someone like him would have done something like that. I mean, because he thinks he can get away with it. And so I'm really happy that he you know, he didn't get away with it anymore, you know. It's a very confusing moment.
No, I mean, yeah. I don't think you should feel confused about it at all. I mean, I think it's absolutely repulsive what he did. You know, that he's using his power and influence.
That's not what I'm confused about. I guess, yeah.
Right, about whether or not, I guess maybe to feel like, oh, this is awesome that he got caught, you know, sort of thing. Because at the same time, it's like, it's terrible what he did. Yeah.
Right. I think I was just surprised that he would have, I guess because it's a notable name. Like, I instantly recognized the name when they said something, when they mentioned it. I'm like, oh, Harvey Weinstein, I know that name. Really, he did that? That's horrible.
Right.
You know, I was just shocked that. I mean, but then thinking about it, I mean, Well, of course, like he would try to use power to get something. I mean, it's all just horrible.
Yeah,
I can't believe.
No, I mean,
so bad.
It's good that he got caught. Because I mean, this is like a known Hollywood secret, unfortunately. But this kind of stuff needs to be brought out into the light, so that way people can't get away with these things anymore. So,
right. Oh, absolutely.
So, I mean, if you're kind of putting pieces together now, you can kind of see where Ima's post was going. So she made a post talking about how she had a connection with somebody in the industry that had sexually harassed her a few times and was very inappropriate. And so she didn't name anybody at first, not in the post at least, but as people were commenting on it and she was talking back and forth with them, she basically had said, well, Google Evilore and you'll find out who I'm talking about. And of course that quickly led to Tyler Malka. So, she said that, she at one point she got very sick and decided to take a shower. They were out and about on business, and because she was helping him, he was helping her get connections for her movie studio production or something like that. And
yeah, she's trying to make a movie.
Right. And so they were out and about. She got very sick. She decided to take a shower to make herself feel better. And he just walks in with her fully naked into the shower. And she was just like, oh, what the fuck? Get the fuck out. That's kind of okay, that's not very appropriate, but maybe maybe you could throw it off as a miscue, maybe he just got the wrong idea. But honestly, if you've never had a history of super flirtiness and a very physical type relationship, your first response to, oh, she's making a pass at me, shouldn't be, let me get naked in the shower with you.
Right, especially when she's sick. There may be some instances where, but no, never. I've never once seen someone be sick, throwing up, and I could still get into this. No, you're not into that at that point. At that point, you just try to take care of people, just make them feel better.
Yeah, and then she made reference to it on a later incident. Later on, they kind of got past that little incident, and then they ended up having kind of a physical little relationship. And then I'm not sure if she actually went into what happened, but she made an instance where he did some more inappropriate things, so outed him. And then, man, the forums were a shit storm. Yes.
Jesus.
And so if you don't know, NeoGAF is very kind of famous for knee-jerk reactions. When the whole Gamergate thing went down, oh, that place was like a shit storm. Oh, it was so bad.
Oh yeah, I just YouTubed searched for NeoGAF before we recorded, just to kind of get an idea of what other people thought, and immediately just things about people being banned left and right, for one thing. Even before all this stuff happened, it's just the way NeoGAF is. Apparently, a lot of the videos I watched were just people angry because they just got banned. So they're making a video in anger. So I feel like them saying that NeoGAF banned you for disagreeing with a certain opinion might be taken out of context or whatnot. But then again, there are so many videos about it,
Right.
And them showing the conversations that they had that got them banned, and I can kind of see that they weren't trying to stir the pot. They were just like, hey, I don't agree with that, and here's why. And then next thing you know, they get a message saying they've been banned forever. I'm like, what? I get that with some of them,
Yeah, I've heard stories too of people basically just trying to have a conversation, and because they kind of take a stance opposite of what Malka takes, they end up getting shadow banned or perma banned, and it's just basically him shutting down the conversation. And
right.
So
you can do that. Don't ban your the people using your website, your reviewers and whatnot. Just delete. Just maybe shut down the thread and lock it. Don't let anybody comment on it. So hey, this is over. It still wouldn't look good on him, but you wouldn't have all this all that much backlash because they can keep posting elsewhere.
Yeah, and so he like. People have been kind of iffy about the site for a while because there's some practices like we've said that are iffy and they didn't like it, but they stuck around because parts of the community were really nice. And then Malka is supposed to be very liberal. He's supposed to be kind of like on the side of like civil liberties and all this other stuff. He's donated a lot of money to that kind of stuff, and so you would think that he would kind of be against things like sexual harassment. And then so whenever this shit comes out, people were just like, you know what, fuck this site, like this is bullshit that this guy who like shuts down conversations about whatever, and clearly if we try to discuss this type of stuff, he's just gonna permaban us. So everyone was just like, you know what, fuck it, we're done with this site, we're done with you. And so they just, a bunch of people were asking to be permabanned. A lot of the mods ended up leaving, just kind of disappearing.
I actually thought it was kind of clever how a lot of people basically use the site's restrictions against them to basically commit suicide with their accounts by using aggressive words and swears basically to get the mods' attention, so they're forced to ban them to prove a point. They were done with it anyway, might as well go out proving a point here that they're not going to stand for it.
Right.
So I thought that was really interesting way to kind of stick it to him.
Yeah, no, it was. So he took the website down basically because of all this, and so it's kind of a big deal. And he's issued a statement now, and he said basically all of her accusations are baseless, are bullshit, and that he's still gonna run the site and everything's gonna go back to normal. And it's kind of funny because he goes, we're just gonna get past all this bullshit and all the stuff that's been stressing us out in 2017, basically trying to throw this shit under the rug and just be like,
no,
don't
you can't do that.
He like in a roundabout way, he's basically, if you talk about it on my website, I'm gonna ban you. So don't talk about it. I don't want to talk about this, which totally to me says I'm guilty.
Yeah.
I don't want to discuss it because it'll be very clear that I'm guilty. And so, even though we're talking about like NeoGAF in general, I think the whole theme of the episode is just like this like unbalance in the video game industry and the entertainment industry right now, and it's all coming to light, which is a good thing, but it's because typically those industries, whenever they first started, especially Hollywood, but even with the video game industry, they're very, very male dominated. And so
absolutely.
You get these kind of people in the culture where they feel like if women try to come up, they either see them as like, oh, aren't you cute thinking you know things about video games, or going, I don't like having women in my office because they're too emotional, they don't know how to make like logical decisions, or they're bad decision makers or something like that. They have these very like sexist ideas about women being in that environment, and it's totally unfair. That it's definitely a shift in thinking that is needed for the industry, and I think there are a lot of people are there now, but there are still some people that are up at the top that kind of feel this way, like for instance with Tyler Malka or Harvey Weinstein with the Weinstein Company, and there's probably many more, and something like this does need to change.
I feel that we should definitely embrace any female that wants to get into this sort of side of they should feel comfortable in here. We want them to be a part of this, but then when they get into a part of it, like you said, they're ridiculed and they're basically told they don't know what they're talking about, which a lot of the times they absolutely do. And I think it's a great thing. I don't understand the mentality a lot of people have. Their opinions are just as valid as anyone else's, male or female. Gender shouldn't matter in that case. It's why it always confuses me when I see someone going after any sort of female who plays games in the video game industry, really any industry that is male dominated, I think a lot of males are threatened by that, and I don't think that's the way I think it's the total opposite of what it should be. I think it's exciting to have a whole different viewpoint on the things we keep hearing over and over, I mean, because it's like you said, it's mainly male driven.
Yeah, of course. And in times like these, people also like have a tendency to fall back on the argument of like, well, women are naturally more emotional than men, and so sometimes they can let their emotions take control during different situations. And it's just like, okay, well, there are two couple of sides to this. One, the American culture kind of propagates that whole women are emotional, men don't fucking talk about your feelings, so just be cool.
Right.
And so it's not that women are more in contact with their emotions, it's just that they're more open and connected to them, right? Whereas men are pretty much trained in the American culture to don't be fucking emotional, don't be sensitive, or else you're going to get your ass beat, right? And so it's just that we have a tendency to not let our emotions drive decisions, and sometimes there are situations where you shouldn't let your emotions drive decisions, but there are also some times whenever maybe you should let them drive your decisions. Yes, if you're thinking of, should I punch this cop because he said something mean to me, you probably shouldn't let your emotions drive that decision. But if you're like, well, what direction do I want to take this company? Follow your passion, figure that out, then you let that's your emotions helping you drive that decision.
Right, definitely.
I mean, to get out the whole like emotion side of thing, but people, they want to fall back on that argument a lot, and so you kind of have to take that out of the equation. You have to figure, the diversity is what you want whenever you're trying to create something successful, because like you said, those different viewpoints are what going to help you get over that next hump, because sometimes you have people and they may have different backgrounds, but they all look at it the same way, and it's not until you get that other person that's completely different from you that decides to look at it from the left side rather than the right, and they go, oh wow, hey, did you think of this? And then boom, you're like, oh shit, wow, yeah, that'll totally work, we should go for that. I mean, having that kind of diversity in a workplace is going to be good, and I think honestly, like, having women in the video game industry is going to be a good thing, because it's going to help give different perspectives, not only on female characters, which are historically in games like pretty terrible. There have been some ones lately in the past couple of generations that have had really strong female characters, which is great. But I think women will be a good influence on that type of writing. They'll also can have different viewpoints about how to handle puzzle solving and how to relate it to your audience, because maybe there's a lot of studios out there that think like, okay, gotta think like a dude, and how would a dude solve this? But
and
that's not necessarily
and women
always the
think
case.
entirely different than men, and so I mean, you get them in there to help develop games more, or design levels. You're gonna get a whole nother level of designing that you don't see that often, because this is a male-dominated industry. So I still don't see how it can hurt at all. Like, it can only help in my eyes. And the sooner we can grasp that and get over that this is a male, this is our area, stay away, the quicker we're going to see progress, and the quicker we're going to see I don't know where I was going with that. Progress is the end of my statement.
Okay.
I lost my train of thought, basically.
No, I totally agree. It's definitely something that we should be open to. And I think it's gonna take a while for people to kind of get into that mindset. But I do think having people come out and talk about these inappropriate situations that women are put in is a very good spurring action to help drive these things into the limelight. Because if we just sit there and wait, I mean, we may be waiting forever for this stuff to come into the spotlight. Whereas if you drive it out under the light, you know, people are going to notice it a lot more. And so people that may be currently doing those types of behaviors, they may be quick to change their behavior because they don't want to be put in that spotlight. You know, it's just like, oh shit, well, Harvey Weinstein, oh, even this dude who just owns like a kind of a smallish website, I mean, small in quotes, but, you know,
right, yeah.
Like he can be affected, and oh, this guy, and like, yes, it's just like you have to be careful with what you do, because I mean, this is the day of the internet. Like, you can't really just get away with anything anymore.
Someone's gonna find out.
Yeah, and it's not even necessarily that, you know, you post something on the internet. If you just do something and then somebody talks about it on the internet, it may be a while till it comes back around to you, but eventually someone may connect that to you, and that's not going to be good for you. But yes, I mean, I think it is great that, you know, this movement right now of exposing sexual harassment and abuse and letting people know, like, hey, this is the quote unquote the norm right now. This is what is happening. Like, don't think these are just isolated cases, you know. And just to say to people who go out there and go, oh, well, how do you know they're not lying about it? Like, they could just be lying. Okay, one, fuck you for thinking that all these women would be lying about something like this. You're probably part of that culture that's perpetuating that ideology. And then two, yes, there are some people out there who do seek stuff for attention, but honestly, I feel like you can kind of almost tell when their stories are fake, or if you press them a little bit more about details that kind of quickly fall apart.
Yeah.
But even then, if you decide that, hey, we're just going to believe you anyway, like, the percentage probably of people who do something like this has got to be less than 10%, you know? And I think it's mostly going to be like isolated people who just want attention or something. But for the most part, like, 99%, I would even say, of these women that are sharing these stories are probably legit, because, you know, I can't sit there and think like, oh, no, the U.S. is perfect. I can't see that many women being sexually harassed. It's
Right.
like, dude, are you kidding me? Like, go in a big city and walk down the street with like a hot chick, like, she's gonna get sexually harassed like constantly. You walk in different places, she's gonna get passes are gonna be made at her and all. I mean, it's nuts. Like, just, I mean, if some guys could just live like as a woman for like, you know, 24 to 48 hours, they would quickly see.
Oh yeah,
like,
they would see. Oh my, they would see.
It's ridiculous. But I don't know. Anyway, so that's my piece on it. I mean, I feel like this is a good thing that all this is coming to light. It's sad to see that the industry is still dealing with these problems. You know, you want the video game industry, because it's so young, to be very liberal and to be at the forefront of progressiveness. And I think it's trying to be, but we also have to acknowledge the faults that we have.
Oh, yeah, that's the first step, is to admit that we do have faults and be able to recognize what they are and how to get over them to progress to the next step. So it's a slippery slope, but I feel like we can really get through it as long as we all work together.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, for sure. So I think that'll be the end of the episode there. I feel like
I think that was good. That was good.
Good conclusion there. Set our pieces.
Well, yeah, so we'll just go ahead and say, if you have any comments or opinions, leave us a comment. Let us know what you think about this whole situation. Is there anything we missed? Any updates? I mean, this, you know, we're only two people here, so
yeah.
And we like talking to people. So if you have something you want to say, leave us a comment. We will be happy to reply as soon as we can, which is normally within a couple hours, actually. So that's good.
Yeah. I mean, it's just, you know, like, and of course, if you have, you know, a story that, you know, of sexual harassment or abuse towards you, I'm not saying you have to share it with us, you have to post it in the comments anywhere, just in general, you know, that hashtag #MeToo is there to show people that there is support. So, you know, don't be afraid to share those stories.
Absolutely.
Even if you have to do it completely anonymous, it helps to get those things off your chest, but it also can expose people who may be continuing those behaviors to other women, you know. And not to even say that this doesn't happen to men too, you know. I don't want to take away from women, because I think it's a much bigger problem with women, but, it can happen to men too. There have been stories of men also being sexually harassed by more powerful men and whatnot. But so don't be afraid to share the story. There's plenty of like communities out there right now, to support you.
Oh yeah, and this is a great time to do it because there is so much support. It's out in the open, and you will have someone to talk to. Someone will come and talk you through this and give you the next steps to take in your particular case. So you're not alone, especially now.
Right. So we'd love to hear from all you guys. Let us know. You can find us on Facebook. We have a great community there that's building. We're on all the most of the major podcasting sites. We have a Twitter and an Instagram, and I guess that's it. But yeah. Oh,
and I keep forgetting to do this, but I mean, if any of you are listening on iTunes, just give us a rating and a thumbs up. Whatever you do, I don't really have iTunes, but we would really appreciate it. Is it star ratings?
Yeah, just give us
give us some of them stars.
Yeah, it'd help us out.
Give us a little review. It really would.
So we hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and we'd love to hear from you, and we will talk to you guys next week.
Yep. All right.
This has been Regie
and James.
Bye, guys.
Bye.